We're celebrating the 33rd anniversary of National Tourism Day. This is that time of the year that we get together and celebrate the power of this $2 trillion impact business. But here in Louisiana and New Orleans, which is what we're talking about today, we're celebrating some of the best tourism numbers we've ever seen. A 3.5% growth in spend by travelers, up to $7.05 billion, a 3.5% increase. We're up to 9.78 million visitors, a 2.7% increase, and that's in a city of only 375,000 people. This, has conclusively proved this past year that we're the leading economic power in the city. We're the greatest job creator in the city with 5,000 new jobs at a time when jobs are being lost all over Louisiana. And we generate more taxes than any other industry.
Tourism matters, and you see by the turnout here, over 200,000 jobs. The tourism industry supports another record-breaking year, over $800 million in taxes we didn't pay. We need to continue to grow this industry, especially with the slowdown in the oil industry. Tourists can fill those hotel rooms, shop in those shops, eat at those restaurants. We can see this industry continue to grow, and the passion and love everybody in this industry has, it's obvious here today. So I'm just proud to be a part of it.
We feel like we're not only the economic backbone, the reality is that we're the cultural lifeblood and the soul of the city, because it's a way that we're able to harness the culture of our people from every neighborhood, every mom that taught their kids how to cook, every jazz musician, the social aid and pleasure clubs, the Indians, there's nothing like us, and people travel from all over this planet to come and see us. The impact of New Orleans is off the charts right now. You've heard a lot about corporate income taxes being down, personal income taxes not being strong, sales taxes not as strong. The reality is, in New Orleans, in our industry, we're absolutely killing it. We're going up in corporate income taxes paid. We're going up in personal income taxes with thousands of new people. We produce over $200 million in direct tax receipts straight to the state just from what we do in our company. I mean, that's an extraordinary number. Plus, of course, we provide the financing for the state's two biggest facilities that are the great economic drivers here, the Superdome and the Convention Center. So at a time when the state is struggling, the great thing is our industry is not, and it is producing jobs and producing revenue for the state. The state does a great job, but we have a phenomenal partnership with the Lieutenant Governor's office. Lieutenant Governor, of course, is over the State Department of Culture, Recreation, and Tourism. They're a marketing partner. We split the cost on all of the international offices, those in Toronto and London and Paris and Frankfurt and Sao Paulo, and contract offices in China and Japan and even Italy. We work together to bring Louisiana and New Orleans to the world. And in a time of budget stress and crisis like we have now, one of the things that's been very important is that the Republican leadership in the legislature and the Democratic governor have, on a bipartisan fashion, recognized that the money spent in tourism makes money for the state of Louisiana. It creates jobs, it creates more tax revenues. So we're not getting cut like a lot of departments of government are. And that's actually critical to the economy, because cutting investment in tourism reduces tax revenues, reduces jobs, reduces income taxes. And so as one of the state's two greatest economic drivers, we're just really proud to be hitting on all cylinders right now.
We need to continue to fund it. It's obvious the more we spend, the more people come here. It's a 38-to-1 return on investment. So the return is huge. Florida spends over $200 million on tourism. We spend pennies, and look what we do. We have people that work very hard. The more we invest, the more people come. And we're gonna have to remember, we've had 4 years of record-setting tourism numbers. but we also don't have that BP money. Over $50 million invested in tourism over the last several years that is gone. So we ought to kick it up a notch and invest more in tourism.
It's my life. I mean, you know, the locals, they love us, they love to come see us, but tourism, I mean, it's a constant ebb and flow of new people, and it's just a whole new energy that brings nothing like anything else in the city.
We're in the audiovisual and lighting business, so the importance of tourism is very important for us because we rely on that type, we rely on tourism for our survival of the business. And we work with a lot of corporations, we work with a lot of concerts, and a lot of festivals, so that's very important for us.
Why'd you come out here today?
Because I support tourism. Without tourism, without the good people to come out and enjoy our fair city, we would go under.
Tourism means to me being able to share this city with other people and really encourage them to take home some of our community and culture, and it's just an amazing place to visit and take some of that home with you.
I came out here today to be in the second line for the, Department of Tourism. Just trying to show New Orleans pride.
Why is tourism important to you?
Keeps the city alive, keeps the city going. After Katrina, I was here through Katrina, and after Katrina, it's what brought the city back to life.
I'm part of the Sirens of New Orleans, and tourism means for me personally an opportunity to share the beautiful and wonderful New Orleans culture with people from all over the world, which I think is really important because the city is so rich and diverse with so many wonderful things, and the music, the food, the activities. So it's really a great time to share all of that with people who sometimes never even left their hometown.
This is my full-time job, and I came out here today to represent the culture of New Orleans for tourism, for the tourists to come and see what happens, the real, true New Orleans.
I came out here today because I needed to represent my company, Royal Carriages. We're the largest carriage company in the city of New Orleans, and it needs to be represented.
How does tourism impact your business?
How does it not impact our business? That's what we do. I mean, what we do is we're a carriage company. We have carriages pulled by mules, and at the same time that the mule is pulling the carriage and we're driving the mule, we also give stories of the city of New Orleans and the French Quarter itself.
We have about approximately 2,500 employees at Harris New Orleans, and the reason why we're here is to support the city and let everyone know that tourism does matter.
Why is tourism so important to New Orleans and to Louisiana?
For number one, New Orleans is actually founded, and there's a lot of people who actually work downtown New Orleans and with the hospitality and hotel industry, and it does matter because it keeps the money into the city and people employed.
This is my full-time job as a Black Masking Indian in New Orleans, and we have a Mardi Gras Indian restaurant gallery on Rampart Street in the French Quarter. So this is what we do for a living. This is the culture of New Orleans. It belongs to everyone, and I'm here today to represent this culture in this great city that we call New Orleans today.
What would you like to see the state do in terms of supporting tourism?
Well, I think the state really doesn't have too many other options other than supporting tourism, because tourism is what makes up, one, the city of New Orleans that represents a big portion of the state of Louisiana.
This is my full-time job. My name is TRIXIE MINX, and I'm a burlesque performer here in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Why'd you come out here today?
I came out here because I love New Orleans. New Orleans is the living, breathing cultural phenomenon, and it's my home, and that's why we're here to celebrate.
What would you like to see the state do in terms of supporting tourism?
Oh my gosh, I would like to just help them encourage advertising and just bringing people into the state, because what we have here is truly unique and special.
Tourism is everything here. That's what keeps us afloat. That's what makes us different from everybody else. There's nowhere else in the world you can go and look like this on 8 o'clock in the morning.
I am carrying the Tourism Matters banner today, and the reason why I'm here is because I'm representing New Orleans CVB, and we're here organizing the event, and it's going to be a fantastic day.
What goes through your mind as you walk through New Orleans carrying this parade banner?
It's an amazing feeling when you realize that tourism makes this city so special, and we wouldn't have a lot of the amenities that we have without tourism. So it's a great experience. It's very exciting.
I love New Orleans. I love a second line, and any excuse to get into costume will suffice for me.
I'd like to see the state do a little bit more media. I mean, I feel like we do a lot of media for ourselves in the city, but there's a lot of things that people around the world don't really know about New Orleans. You know, they know Bourbon Street and they know kind of like the stereotypical things, but I feel like there's so much that New Orleans gives and so much culture and so much life that we need to really push a little bit more to be like, New Orleans is more than just Bourbon Street.
To provide more funding to the arts so that we can represent the culture of New Orleans even better.
We're the ones that pioneered around America this celebration that it is specific to New Orleans, kind of a mini Mardi Gras type parade through the French Quarter. You know, most places it's press conferences and folks go out on steps and they yell and whoop and holler, but here, hey, it's just in our nature. Let's put a parade together. Let's have floats. Let's have marching bands. Let's have performers. And so that's just the way we do it. And that's why people keep coming back over and over again.
The people that came here, worked in the oil industry, that are now leaving, and those vacant hotel rooms, that's a perfect opportunity for us to ratchet up the tourism industry and fill that gap. There's no better time now than to invest in tourism.
It's the slogan of the day. Tourism matters. This is the industry that drives the cultural economy that makes this a worthwhile place to live, an exciting place to live. But more than that, it's not just the cultural fabric that we're able to take and spread and send the messages of around the world. We're getting the recognition finally that we're the economic power that drives the fortunes of our city, of our businesses, of our working men and women from every neighborhood and in virtually every street. So we are glad to be the greatest tax generator and the greatest job creator. The success of New Orleans means Louisiana gets more successful, and we've just laid down a base with sales that we think is going to make this decade even better.
People have questions like more information about tourism. What should they do?
NewOrleansCVB.com or contact our public relations department at the New Orleans Convention and Visitors Bureau. Call 504-566-5011 and ask to speak to Public Relations Communications, and they can get you any kind of information you can imagine.